And point it right at my.
There you will.
Love it.
Yeah. Okay.
He's just looking at the clock.
Yeah, they're over.
His name is
second delay.
Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen's a defense coordinator. Nobody cares.
Good evening, and welcome to the St. Charles Parish Council meeting on Monday, February 7th, 2022, at 6 p.m. in the council chambers in the parish courthouse. Please silence all electric devices and remove all hats. This meeting is called to order with a prayer and pledge of allegiance from Pastor Ron Fortune with the Covenant Church in Destrehan. Pastor.
Thank you for having me. Let us pray. Father, we come to you this evening, and we ask for your blessings upon this meeting as we gather together to discuss the betterment of this community. Lord, let us be in one mind and one accord. Guide us by your wisdom, knowledge, and understanding in the matters at hand. We ask that you support us by your power and that you would clearly show us how to conduct our work with a spirit of joy and enthusiasm. Lord, empower us to find ways to make this community better, stronger, and to excel in every area. Most of all, we ask that you help us to work together and encourage each other in a spirit of excellence, and that we would challenge each other to reach higher and go further to be the best we can be, so that we can make the best decisions and create the best plans for this community. And we ask it in Jesus' name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor. Okay, approval of minutes for the regular meeting, January 24th. A motion and a second is needed to approve the minutes from the regular meeting of January 24th. I have a motion by Ms. Belloc. Second by Mr. Gibbs. Please cast your votes. That motion passes with 7 yeas, with Councilwoman Billings and Councilwoman Fisher-Perry absent for the evening. Special business proclamations, canvass returns, etc. In recognition, Mr. David P. Schexnayder, Sr., Planning and Zoning Commission. Mr. Gibbs.
Thank you, Chairman. The Parish of St. Charles Council and the Parish President deeply appreciate your years of service on the St. Charles Parish Planning and Zoning Commission. David P. Schexnayder, Sr., District 3 Representative, November 2nd, 2020 to January 1st, 2022. Mr. Schexnayder is not here to receive this, but I'll make sure I get it to him. Thank you.
Okay, 2022-027, proclamation, Crew of Months Day. Proclamation, whereas on Saturday, February 26, 2022 at 10 a.m., the Crew of Months will hold its 37th Mardi Gras parade through the streets of Months. And whereas the Crew of Months parade is organized and directed by Mr. Curtis Dufour, who gives of his time and talent to make this event possible. And whereas the Crew of Months parade is held in memory of Mr. and Mrs. Cleve Westcomb, who originated and organized the event. And whereas the Crew of Months is strictly an ATV parade consisting of 3-wheel and 4-wheel vehicles, go-karts, and golf carts. And whereas the residents of St. Charles Parish are truly grateful for Mr. Dufour's dedication and hard work. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, do hereby proclaim Saturday, February 26, 2022, as the Crew of Months Day. Be it further resolved that Saturday, February 26, is hereby declared a day of fun and festivities in St. Charles Parish. Be it further resolved that on behalf of the citizens of St. Charles Parish, we do hereby extend our sincere thanks and appreciation to Mr. Curtis Dufour for his contributions to the Crew of Months Parade. Be it further resolved that this parade is dedicated in memory of Mr. and Mrs. Cleve In honor of their dedication and involvement with the Crew of Months in St. Charles Parish. I think Mr. Dufour is here. Would you come up and accept this?
Thank you.
Good evening. I'd like to say thank you for the proclamation and keep the month parade going, and come on out if y'all want to have a good time, if y'all know somebody on the route, and y'all have time to get to the Lutheran parade after. Thank you.
Thank you, Curtis. Appreciate it. Uh, 2022-016, an ordinance authorizing the Parish of St. Charles, State of Louisiana, to proceed with not to exceed $15 million financing through the Louisiana Local Government Environmental Facilities and Community Development Authority, authorizing and ratifying the parish request of the Louisiana Local Government Environmental Facilities and Community Development Authority to issue its revenue bonds and provide for other matters in connection therewith. Mr. Jewell.
Thank you, Chairman. This is a DEQ loan. I'm going to go for wastewater. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our bond counsel. Grant, do you want? Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
This is actually the Go Mesa.
I'm sorry, Go Mesa.
Yeah.
Wrong one.
To be clear. This is a financing we've talked before. I'm sorry. Jason Akers with Foley and Udell. Jim Ryan with Government Consultants, Municipal Advisor on the transaction. This is the ordinance giving final approval to the Go Mesa financing we've talked about previously. As you recall, these bonds are actually issued by the Louisiana Community Development Authority, which is a conduit issuer based in Baton Rouge. They've served as the issuer for all of the Go Mesa financings in the state of Louisiana, so there's familiarity there, both with LCDA in the process, but also with the investors through the LCDA. With your approval tonight, we are authorized, and LCDA is anticipated to approve on Thursday. We're authorized as your finance team to go forward and get into the market when the time is right, following State Bond Commission approval, which will be later on this month. And actually, it gives authorization to the parish president, council secretary, and council chair to execute the documents related to the sale. The parameters are not exceeding $15 million, not exceeding a 6% interest rate, and not exceeding a final maturity of November 1 of 2047. But as of right now, we anticipate that that interest rate will be significantly less than that. Recently, they've been in the 4% range, Jim? Yeah. So I'm going to let him speak as to the market now.
Hi, Jim Ryan with Government Consultants. Yeah, you threw me there when you said DEQ. I thought I'm at the wrong meeting. Yeah, probably. I think the latest numbers we have are in the 4% range.
Yeah. So the purpose of using LCDA is to ensure that the only parish funds that are at risk are the Go Mesa revenues that are received on an annual basis. They'll come in to you, they'll get paid over to a trustee. The trustee will take out the amounts that are due for debt service. Anything left over gets split equally between the bondholders and the parish. So you actually will receive money back each year as Go Mesa revenues continue to increase. At least that's our desire. Regardless, it's scheduled so that your final maturity should take place prior to 2047. Once you give your approval tonight, as I said, that gives us the authorization we need to get out into the market, and we'll just report back to you following the sale. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Okay. File number 2022-016 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name, your address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Is there any council discussion? Mr. Jewell, this is the Go Mesa money that we talked about for the Phase 1 master drainage projects.
Yes, sir.
So we've earmarked 12 million of that.
Yeah, we're hoping, we think that we can utilize all that. Obviously, by the time we get to the point of construction, we hope that the prices of materials have kind of calmed down, because we are seeing some of our other bids right now coming back a little bit over with the prices of materials. And obviously, with contractors being as busy as they are right now, some elevated costs there. So we're hoping that the projects that we listed out, that we can utilize the money for those projects.
Okay. Please cast your votes for file number 2022-016. And that motion passes with 7 yeas. 2022-028, a resolution giving preliminary approval to the issuance of not to exceed $10 million of taxable limited tax bonds, DEQ, of the Parish of St. Charles, the state of Louisiana, and providing for other matters in connection therewith. Mr. Jewell.
Thank you. This is the DEQ loan that I was talking about in the previous ordinance. And I will turn it over to Jason Akers to talk about that. And we also have David DeGeneres here to talk about what that's going to be used for as project-wise.
Thank you again, Jason Akers with Foley Udell. DEQ runs a revolving loan fund program that is funded periodically with capitalization grants from the United States Environmental Protection Agency. DEQ makes those revolving loan fund loans to public water and wastewater systems in the state of Louisiana. It's via an application process. St. Charles actually submitted an application last year. It was awarded over the summer, and as we were determining the proper procedure for moving forward, Hurricane Ida got in the way. So we're back to you now to start the process. This is the preliminary resolution that will allow us to make application to the State Bond Commission. It will come back to you for an ordinance later. These loans are at a very low interest rate. It's fixed at 0.95% for the life of the loan, has a maximum 22-year term, and it allows a 2-year drawdown period so that you're only paying interest, you're only drawing money when you need it. It means you're only paying interest when you draw the funds. It's all designed as a way to keep the costs low and ensure the viability of the system going forward. This will actually be paid out of the ad valorem tax that is levied for the water system, for the wastewater system, and will not come out of parish general funds. So happy to answer any questions or turn it over for project discussion.
Mr. Janice, would you like to speak on it before we open up public hearing?
Yes, sir. Right now, we have two projects slated for this loan. One is Muntz Norco lift station rehab. It's a project was on the books before I got here. Both stations have smaller wet wells. We're going to increase wet wells, probably change the pumps if needed and all that. That one doesn't require a whole lot of environmental, so we could do a category exclusion, move that project forward real quick to close the loan. The other one is to do the new pond on 3127. We're looking at a piece of property right where the airboat place is, right across the canal from there. So we're doing the preliminary right now on that project. We'll have a better detail of what that cost is, but right now the estimate's around $8 million on that project. Another 2 to 3 if we have to discharge to the river. We're looking to do wetland simulation there, so that should cut the cost down for us on that. So those are two projects they're slated for.
Thank you, sir. File number 2022-028 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Okay, seeing none, public comment is closed. Any council discussion? Okay, seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2022-028. Sorry, 0028. And that motion passes with 7 yeas. Reports, Finance Administration and Activities, 022-023, Parish President's remarks, and reports. Mr. Jewell.
Thank you, Chairman. I will go through the report. I'll wait for Alyssa to get it up on the screen here real quick. What's that? Oh, man, let's start the clock on me. You did that, Michelle? Yeah, you did. She told me not to have a report today. Okay, we'll go to the first slide here. So I want to give a COVID update. Today, LDH has reported a total of 13,522 cases total since the beginning of the pandemic in 2020. Over the last week, we averaged about 73 new cases per day, which is half of the daily average from the last time we met. So it does show that cases are on the way down. Numbers are decreasing, but however, should you need a test or would like to receive a vaccine, there is some information. Let's see, testing is at Access Health in Norco, 16004 River Road, Tuesday 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., also Thursday 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., as well as St. Charles Parish Hospital, which is PCR testing, 7 to 10 on Mondays, Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, it's 8 to 10, and those are a limited number of tests per day as well. Vaccination information, of course, as always, residents who are interested in receiving the vaccine can visit vaccines.gov for locations nearest you, but pretty much every pharmacy and healthcare provider in St. Charles Parish is administering the vaccine. We'll go on to Public Works. Just give you a brief update of some of the work that's been going on around the parish. This is over on Mlk Drive in Willowdale. We were actually addressing a very dangerous curve on Mlk Drive and improving drainage in that area by upgrading the size of the culverts. And we will be casting or pouring a catch basin that's going to greatly help cars from going off into the ditch. There's a really steep shoulder in that hard curve. We did some repairs on Trailsway Drive. Our crews went out and inspected subsurface and found some issues. So you can see them there digging it up, and we're going to be replacing the culvert and the catch basins there to kind of keep water moving towards the back of Trailsway Drive. Crews were out on Ormond Boulevard trimming some of the trees. We've had several reports from school buses that trees were kind of dangerously close to the school buses, as well as complaints from vehicles who were having obstructed views trying to pull out from the streets in Ormond area. So our crews went out there and trimmed some of those trees up. In Turtle Creek, we did some street panel replacement, and you can see where some cracked and broken street panels were replaced. This is kind of the process that we work through, where we take the panel up, we're going to backfill it with limestone, and then they'll come back after that and pour a whole new panel and get those kind of dangerous and deep potholes out of those streets. A part of this project as well will be dressing up the sidewalk and pouring new sidewalk there. Let's see, Destrehan Canal. This is on the discharge side of Destrehan number 2 pump station. You probably saw our equipment if you've taken 310 lately. You've seen our equipment in between there. The reason that our discharge side of our pumps are important is because we want that water to flow away and not back up on the pump. When the water backs up on the pump, our pumps actually lose their efficiency by having to pump against a head pressure. So we like to keep both sides of our canals clean, and that's what they were doing there. So we did that, and that was done with a permit. We did some sheet pile work on Heather Oaks. So that canal was recently widened to accompany the new subdivision that's going in there. Our crews went out and put in some sheet piling. If you're familiar with that area, there's a small pump station right by Lakewood School off to the side. So we put some sheet pile in there to kind of prevent scouring along the canal bank there when that pump is turned on. So that'll help keep that canal in good shape. All right. Work is beginning at Wetland Watchers Park. If you're familiar with the issue there, we've had many years of, I say many, a couple years of spillway openings. We also had that new concrete train trestle that you see there that prevented us from getting in. And what has been happening is that the entrance has been habitually flooded. So our crews are working to build a new earthen levee and widen that entrance, as well as adding a sump pump, and any rain that does collect in there will get pumped out, and that should keep our entrance dry. When we're done that work, we'll utilize a grant from Shell to pour new asphalt on there, making the entrance nice and smooth. And hopefully we'll be able to get school buses back in there so kids can go back there on field trips and enjoy it again. That's also going to allow our crews to get back there more regularly to do maintenance. And we do have some other work planned to dress up the park. And we're going to be looking for some options to do some of the bigger work. Obviously, we know there was a fire at one of our outdoor classrooms there, which was really sad to see. But we're going to be working to get that park back into shape so our residents can get back out there and enjoy it. All right, want to talk about streetlights, because that is one of the hot topics going on right now. I'm sure our council members are hearing about it. I was actually able to get a report back today from Entergy on streetlight repair. So I'll actually go through a little bit more of this report. This will cover more than streetlights. So just kind of a recap. There was historic damage with Ida. 30,000 poles were damaged, including mini streetlights. To put that in perspective, that was double the number of Laura and more than Katrina, Ike, Delta, and Zeta combined. 3% of all of Entergy's poles, which is 1.165 million, were damaged. And let's see, in St. Charles accounted for about 10% of the total, a little over 10% of the total damage when it came to poles. So they're transitioning into streetlight repair. They put out an RFP. They've selected a contractor or contractors to help. To give you perspective, on the East Bank, St. Charles Parish, or Entergy has 3,127 poles. In Months, they have 304 poles. And on the West Bank, they have 3,769 poles for a total of 7,200. So that streetlight contractor's coming in. They're reporting about 1,700 streetlights that are damaged, 500 that are missing completely. They're just no longer on the pole. Of course, we have done a great job over the years of marking those streetlights with GIS, so we know where the poles were, and they have that information to know that there are streetlights missing. So, what they're telling us is that they've ordered a lot of the materials. They said, as the rest of the world, they've been experiencing some manpower issues as well as supply chain setbacks. But they're also working still forward to get these going. There is a couple of small skeleton crews that are working. If you've seen on Highway 90, which has been a priority, they've put up what they call vector lighting, which are those square boxes that kind of sit on the pole, and they cast a wide set of lights. We did tell them that we did not want that to be the permanent solution. We do want the long arms that shine the light down onto the road. And then after they get those in, which they're on order, they'll take those vector lights and point them down, because it just isn't as nice having that light kind of shining you in the face while they're driving. So at this time, their plan is to provide notification to the areas that they'll be working for the next several weeks. And they plan, let me find this here. I believe it says, I believe by the end of March, they plan to be complete with all their streetlight repairs. So a little less than 2 months to have it all done. So they are planning to come out in full force and get those done. One of the things that a lot of people don't know is that the parish actually pays for streetlights to Entergy. We pay a set rate every month that covers the cost of the electricity, and it covers the cost of Entergy coming out and making repairs to those streetlights. So we kind of pushed and said, we don't have these streetlights. We should be compensated. We should not have to pay. We were credited for the entire month of September, and they are working on credits for us for the months of October, November, and December. And we're going to be getting that money back from what we had to pay. Again, Highway 90 from I-310 East to Walmart. They've been repaired with the several high-pressure sodium bulbs, but we are coming back with LEDs throughout the entire parish. They're more reliable. They use a lot less electricity, and we are working on renegotiating our rates once we switch to LEDs because of the decreased use of electricity that we had, and we had that discussion back in January. So that's where we are right now on streetlights. We'll go to the next slide. All right, waterworks. We do have a couple of projects, kind of normal maintenance projects that are still going on. So you can see tanks are being cleaned inside and outside, and they're being repainted just to keep those in great condition. The picture on the left is what the tank looked like before, and on the right is what it looks like now. So you can see that project there. And this is something we do not annually, but every so many years we're required to go in and clean those tanks. Recreation, we got an accolade from the Lay Observatoire. We were voted the best park on the East Bank, or the best park in the river parishes, which was the East Bank Bridge Park, and we are excited about that. We do have sports registration signups: baseball, softball, t-ball, tennis, track, and field. The deadline to register is Monday, February 14th. If you want to register, please visit scpparksandrec.com or speak to your local booster club for more information. We do have some other fun activities going on. We got line dancing. This is happening Friday, February 11th at 5:30 p.m. at the Edward A. Dufresne Community Center. They are requesting a $5 donation be made, and all the money will go to the American Heart Association. So it is the American Heart Association line dancing, and they will have snacks and drink provided there. And our parking lot near the West Bank Trailhead, we went ahead and got that restriped, so that is looking a lot better as we get really close to being able to dedicate and open our West Bank Trailhead. There's a couple of just small punch list items that need to be complete on the West Bank Trailhead, and we'll be looking forward to cutting the ribbon on that very soon. Let's see, animal control. We want to say a big thank you to Turning Rescues into Pets. They recently purchased a dental machine for our department in animal control, and this will allow our pets to have a proper dental cleaning when they come in. So when we obtain an animal that might be a stray, we will do whatever is necessary to spay and neuter the animal if they have no owner. We'll also give them a nice teeth cleaning and a full pampering while they have a short stay, hopefully at our facility. All right. The MLK Book Drive is still going on. To help reach our goal of collecting 500 books, Entergy Water for 3 donated approximately 100 books to RSVP for its MLK Book Drive, and we'd like to thank Water for 3 for their continued support for all of our parish activities. We do have Trash Bash coming up. Our registration is open, so please mark your calendars for Sunday, March 5th, and we hope you join us in helping clean up the parish. You can bring a team and pick any part of the parish that you'd like to clean up. Could be in front of your house, or it can be a highly trafficked area. So if you want to register, please go to www.stcharlesparish.gov/trashbash. Okay, sales tax figures for the end of 2022. December sales tax equaled $4,689,698.13, which is 22 and a quarter higher than December 2020, and it represents our largest single collection month ever. With sales tax collections in 2021, we saw about a 10% increase from 2020. Yep, very good news. Job openings: animal control officer, carpenter, equipment operator 1, 2, 3, and 4, grass cutter 2, groundskeeper, laborer, public information specialist, pump technician helper, shop mechanic helper. To apply, you can go on our website or call our personnel office at 985-783-5000. Lastly, I'd like to kind of celebrate a big win, which is the signing of the Chiefs report for the Upper Barritaria feasibility study. We talked about this at the last meeting a little bit. It is officially official now. The Chiefs report was signed, and that basically is authorizing an official project, which will be called the Upper Barritaria Risk Reduction System. You can see the alignment on the map here. And if that alignment looks funny to you, it's not, because it is the alignment of our St. Charles Parish levy minus what goes into Lafourche Parish. So you can see it starts at the Davis diversion. It goes behind Willowdale, goes all the way back behind Magnolia. There'll be the Parity Gate. It'll go and follow the Sunset Levee, and then it'll go across Bayou des Allemands with a barge gate. It will then follow Highway 90 in a parallel fashion and tie into Highway 308 near Matthews. While it's not shown on this area, but it protects 800 square miles. 600 or so of that is the basin that we call the Upper Barritaria Basin. And this will be 100-year flood protection, which means our risk from flooding from a 100-year storm would decrease by about 98%. And this would help alleviate the increasing flood insurance costs that we're seeing on our residents in St. Charles Parish right now, flood insurance costs. And it's kind of funny because the federal government is literally at odds with itself. On one hand, the federal government is basically saying we are investing in this area. We know we have to protect this area. The multi-billion dollars worth of homes, industrial assets, literally the national security interests of our energy production here. But at the same time, you have FEMA, which is basically making it unaffordable to live in this area. So we got to get the federal government's head screwed on straight. I see we have a representative from Senator Kennedy's office here today, so he's gonna bring that back to Senator Kennedy. I know Senator Kennedy's gonna help fight for this. But again, this is a big deal. We are gonna work really, really hard to get it funded. But I want to thank the council for all the work they've done on this, and let the council know that we're going to continue pushing forward any project that we've already started. We're going to continue pushing it forward because that all goes towards the state's cost share, and it continues to give us protection because there is no guarantee that we'll get it funded right away. But we're going to fight like hell. I think there's a lot of great opportunities right now to get it funded, and we'll be working on that. And that's all my report. Sorry, Michelle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to thank the parish president, his staff, and Public Works for the work that you're doing out at the Wetland Watchers Park, because I think that's a little-known hidden gem in our parish, and the parish has put, several $100,000 into that park over the years. And I think the work that you're doing, if people aren't concerned about their cars being inundated with floodwaters trying to access the park, that it will get more use. So thank you very much for that. Also, regarding the chief's approval of the Upper Barritaria study, kudos for getting that done in a shortened time frame. That project's been worked on over several years, and in the past that would have taken even much longer than this, but we were fortunate to be able to get a study authorized and funded and get it done in 3 years. And the ultimate, I think, hurdle to get over is the chief's report approval. Otherwise, if you get a negative chief's report, it's dead in the water, which we saw happen in the past with Donaldsonville to the Gulf. So this is a huge achievement for our parish, and I do think that congressional authorization of the project and ultimately congressional funding of the project we'll see in the near future. So thank you for the work of this administration on that to get to this point, and previous administrations as well. I think it's going to bring us the protection that we've ultimately worked towards, and hopefully lowered flood insurance rates. So thank you.
Ms. Cooley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know January 10th was a date that had been established for debris finalized being put out. Do you know how many trucks right now are running in our parish? Because it seems like nothing's moving.
Yeah, there are 17 trucks right now in the parish. The crews actually went out again and rode the parish to see what's still left out there. If you're getting complaints about areas that have have had debris out for a little while, please forward them to me or give the project manager a call. We do have a new project manager right now. His name is Steven. So Tom Baker is now working on a different project. So I will get you his number. That recently just happened, so his team has come in and has reassessed everything. But we are moving. We are doing about 5,000 yards a day. But there's still a lot out there, and they're getting it picked up. And, you know, while we have said to January 10th, we want you to put it out, going at a nice slow pace gives people a bit more time if their street hasn't gotten picked up to get that last little bit out there, so.
All righty. Okay, ordinances, resolutions introduced for publication, public hearing, Monday, February 21st, 2022, 6 p.m., Council Chambers, Courthouse, Harville. We have none. Ordinances scheduled for public hearing, introduced at a previous meeting. 2022-017, an ordinance adopting the St. Charles Parish Council Road and Bridges Capital Program budget for the fiscal year 2022 through 2024 in accordance with the Parish Transportation Act. Mr. Dewsome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In accordance with the Parish Transportation Act, we are required to adopt a 3-year budget for our road maintenance program. They refer to it as the Roads and Bridges Capital Program. So in our budget, we have 2 funds. We have the Parish Transportation Fund, which is $500,000 a year that we receive from the Parish Transportation Act. And then we also put money for road maintenance in the paved streets budget, which for 22 was $1,750,000. So plus the $500,000 gets us to $2,250. And then for years 2023 and 2024, since we're going to receive the $500,000, we just simply put $500,000 for both years. And then next year we'll be doing the same exact thing. We'll have what we approved in 23 and then doing 24 and 25. So it's a requirement we have to do every year.
All right, thank you. File number 2022-0017 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak. Okay, seeing none, public hearing is closed. Is there any council discussion? Okay, seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2022-0017. And that motion passes unanimously. 2022-0018, an ordinance to amend the St. Charles Parish zoning ordinance of 1981 as amended, Section 6, zoning district criteria and regulations, H, historic preservation districts, to remove item number 2. Mr. Albert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It had come to the department's attention recently that the historic district had this provision in it that is not frequently acted upon, referenced, or utilized. In evaluating what this provision does, and that is to set forth a 1,000-foot buffer zone around any historic district, we realized this provision was kind of unique in the zoning ordinance and caused significantly more problems than it solved. Most zoning districts regulate what's inside their own boundaries. This one extends restrictions onto neighboring properties, potentially without them realizing it. So, you know, if someone goes in and says, I want to know all the provisions of C3, what can I do here? And they read that, they should be able to know what they're allowed to do in their district by looking at the map and reading the regulations. The way this zone works, the buffer extending out onto other properties, makes that difficult for property owners to do. It makes it difficult in reviewing building permit applications, and provides some challenges that we think could be problematic in the future. You know, the way this is set up and the way the ordinance specifically reads, it's not only historic districts, but things that have been recognized by other historical societies. So if a home has gotten some kind of historic designation, but doesn't necessarily have that zoning district attached to it, it would still be eligible. And for consideration, you know, like on an older home that's in a historic district, that might be set on a 10-acre piece of ground. Well, that 1,000-foot buffer extends from all of the property lines of that property, so that huge piece of property now has a 1,000-foot bubble around it that can affect 100 properties or more. So, in looking at this, we recommend that this is removed from the code. We've consulted with the legal department on this. The Planning Commission voted unanimously on it. It does not actually affect what happens in the historic district. That still regulates the properties that are in there. This provision right now limits things outside of that district boundary. If there's any questions, I will do my best to answer them.
All righty. Thank you, Mr. Albert. File number 2022-018 0018 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Michael, I'm just wondering, thinking back to the medical office building on the East Bank that is, I believe, within 1,000 feet of Destrehan Plantation, or any C3 use. I don't know if that's C3, but any C3 use would not have to come back before the Planning Commission with this change for a special use?
If the code stays the way it is currently, anything with C3 or higher, more intense, I forget exactly how it's phrased, but anything more intense than that would have to go to Planning Commission for a special permit use. Would.
Anything C2 or less would not?
Correct. And that also, expansions are specifically included in that. So if you have an existing site that maybe was approved at some point, you would have to go through that process again if you expanded.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Cooley.
What you just mentioned, that's the way it is
Now,
currently.
currently.
And with this change, then that would eliminate that?
Correct. This eliminates a separate process for by right uses. So things that you're allowed to do in your zoning district, C3, M1, anything more intense than C2, if those are within 1,000 feet, currently, something that we could generally issue a building permit for when you walk in would have to go to Planning Commission, be subject to the vote, and be subject to any conditions that are placed on it at that time.
But any changes in zoning would still have to go through the regular process of zoning changes?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, as an owner of historical property, I don't think that it is in the best interest of the parish that affect all the adjacent property owners within that bubble. And so I'm in favor of this. I don't think this change would affect in an unfavorable way the progression of uses of the property and adjoining it. So
Thank you.
I'm in favor of this.
Any other council discussion? Okay. Please cast your votes for file number 2022-0018. And that motion passes with 7 yeas. 2022-0019, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of change order number 1 for the parish project number P210302, asphalt pavement maintenance, task order 1, to increase the contract amount by $536,799.31. Mr. Bingham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On May 17, 2021, St. Charles Parish Council adopted ordinance authorizing the execution of a contract with Barritaria Construction for asphalt maintenance and work down throughout the parish. While completing the first task order on this, we found that there was additional work that needed to be done, and those can be categorized in 3 categories: unforeseen work, added work, and Hurricane Ida work. The unforeseen work was down in Bayou Gauche where when we milled the roads, we found that there was only 2 inches of asphalt on the roads rather than the likely 3 inches that is normal. So when we took that, we took it straight down to the base. The decision was made to go back with 3 inches to establish our 3 inches that is the parish minimum requirement. That was on 4 streets. That was worth $169,184.15. Added work was also in Bayou Gosh. There was a median that needed to be cut for better access for several residents, and that was only $24,466.40. The big item was Hurricane Ida. When we milled the road, they milled it right before the storm. The storm hit. We were going to go right back to it, but with all the power lines down and all the damage that was done, there was a longer period of time. We had a lot of heavy trucks going in and removing debris, people going in with their own equipment to try and get their houses back in order. So that the actual base material of the road got very badly damaged. And that work is $343,148.76, which we are planning to claim as a FEMA claim because it was brought on by the storm. So that is the total $536,799.31, and we would appreciate your support.
Thank you, Mr. Bingham. File number 2022-0019 is now open for public hearing. Does anyone like to come up and speak regarding this item? Please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Mr. Dufresne.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Couple questions, Miles.
Yes, sir.
Are we going to core from here on out first?
Yes, sir. I think we had a conversation on that. It would be to our benefit to add a coring prior to the job. It was not something that's been done in the past, but to core the roads before we go out and mill them, so we will know if we have this problem beforehand.
All right. Second question. Are we keeping track of the streets that are
Yes.
under asphalt size?
Yes, we will actually, as we core streets and then go back and mill them and overlay them, we take cores to get our depth, make sure we got the proper depth, and we are starting a database that will have all that information in it.
All right. Here's something I just thought of, too, though. Can we claim maybe with FEMA the second mob that we're having to pay since they had to mobilize out because of the storm and then mobilize back in?
And anything in the Hurricane Ida category, which includes that second mobilization and also redeploying all the signs and barricades, will be part of that FEMA claim.
All right. Last question. Whatever became of the Barrier operator moonlighting as a stump digger on Pleasant Valley Road after it was just paved, and he ran a metal track hoe up and down the road twice and tore up the curb on a concrete section? Is any of that getting done? Are we having to sue Barrier to get them to fix it? Because the people who were backside against them had some vibration cracks done to their home, and they were turned down by Barrier's insurance for repairs. So are they going to repair the curb that he tore up?
Okay.
And are they going to fix the street that he put metal track marks on?
They have agreed to fix the damage on the road. As for the operator that did that as a sort of a sideline, my understanding is that he is no longer working for Barrier, and that their claim with the property owner and that legal thing, the parish is not a part of that. That's not, we can't be part of that. That would automatically be between those two people.
What about the property owner who hired him on the side for cash? I think they bear some responsibility in the public street being tore up.
That would be a legal argument that would need to be brought on by those parties, and the parish would not really be involved in that.
Why? It's the parish's street.
Well, I think the sheriff's office determined that there was no criminal intent, and therefore, I don't think it'd be hard to.
The first time, if you go down the street, there's no criminal intent. But when you know you did damage and you turn around and go back it up the second time.
I was speaking specifically about the property owners who hired.
That own the lot that he was trying to dig the stump out of?
There's no criminal intent in hiring.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Miles, you mentioned establishing a database for the streets. I would think that that information would be really great to have in our GIS system. It's already,
We will, we plan to tie it in that way.
Okay.
Where we will actually have coordinates and move forward that way, so it will be.
Just like pipe sizes and anything else.
Yes.
The depths of
It'll
streets.
show where we took.
That'd be great.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Miles, along with that, but, and I guess we have a record someplace of, over the years, asphalt, because we get bills and all that stuff, and I know Grant tracks it. Do we ever take a look and see if we got charged for 3 inches and we only got 2 inches? Do we ever go back and look at that?
Okay, so where we had the 2 inches, that was probably there from the beginning of the subdivision. I don't think that those roads had ever really had that overlay done. Probably dates back to when the contractor put it down the first time. And, it may have been 2.5 inches, and with wearing, you usually lose a half an inch. We went in and milled 2 inches, and it went straight to the base.
Chairman, to answer your question, we do have parish employees on site when they're performing this work. So we do know, we can see what we're getting.
Right.
And then, of course, if those bills come through Public Works, if there was a discrepancy, they would catch that, and obviously we'd have to
Now, I will say, and I think
situate that with fire.
I will say, I think Councilman Dufresne and I kind of brought it up last couple of times, is we are getting what we paid for now. Because
That's
we're holding
correct.
them accountable. Like Parish President said, we have people out there, but I'm just kind of worried about concern as we redo these streets, and we say there's one thing there, and then they mill it, and the next thing you know, they're coming back to you and saying, Mr. Bingham, they only had 2 inches instead of you told me they had 3. So if they had 3 and we were billed for 3 10 years ago, I'm just wondering if there's some way we can look at it and kind of say, hey, the contractor, you billed us for 3. Maybe we didn't have a good Public Works Department, inspection system like we have now. Just curious.
I think that core is going to be the answer to it.
That's-
Because you know what you have before, and then you know what goes on after.
Yeah, so that's exactly correct. By taking the coring before, which is one of the things that I'm implementing moving forward, we will know what our streets are as they are today. And then it's an automatic to take a core afterwards to prove that they put down the amount of asphalt that they said they did.
Okay, thank you. Okay, please cast your votes for file number 2022-0019. Okay, that motion passes with 7 yeas. 2022-0021, an ordinance in approving and authorizing the execution of a contract with Cuvion Group LLC for Parish Project P150801-2, AIMA Drainage Improvements rebid with a bid in the amount of $2,752,705. Mr. Bingham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On December 14th, 2021, sealed bids were received by St. Charles Parish for the AIMA Drainage Improvements rebid, which will upgrade the existing AIMA pump station. The low bidder was Cuvion Group LLC with a bid of $2,752,705, which includes the base bid, which is adding 2 36-inch pumps to the existing station, and alternate number 1, which is the installation of a heavy-duty automatic bar screen cleaner, which they do not have any cleaners out there now. The plans and specifications were prepared by civil and environmental consulting engineers. The purpose of this project is to increase the pumping capacity of the current drainage pump station in AIMA, which AIMA has developed significantly over the last few years, and this is very much needed in that area. It is also that is also part of the master drainage plan from 2020, and it shows this improvement to the pump station. The current 2020 master drainage plan model shows the needs for the upgrades. We did bid this once before. The bids came in over our engineer's estimate by a significant amount, and we did not actually, at that time, have the money on hand. So we went back to the drawing board, reworked it. Unfortunately, we got hit by inflation, but we'd actually added more money to the pot on this as well. So we now have the money to actually do these improvements, and we've got a better plan as well. So we do request your approval of this.
All right, thank you,
Ordinance.
Mr. Singh. File number 2022-0021 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Mr. Dufresne.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Miles, on the on this Decuvion price, and Parish President Jewell mentioned it earlier, the shortfalls of having things delivered right now and the inflation in the price. I went through and I see their sheet pile prices. They can't get that for that. So what do we do? Are they going to have to increase it?
Well,
'Cause I know those went up significantly here in the last month.
sure. Since they gave us a price, we can hold them to it. They had an opportunity beforehand to pull out.
Mhm.
Since we have now sent the contract through with their signatures and everything on it, they are saying that they can live up to that.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, any more discussion? Okay, seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2022-0021. And that passes with 7 yeas. 2022-0020, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of a professional services agreement with Stewart Consulting Group Incorporated to perform engineering services for the East Bank Lift Stations Rehabilitation Project, project number S211203, in the amount not to exceed $213,780. Mr. Gianaris.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Mr. Chairman. This was a grant that was awarded to us through Lake Pontchartrain Basin Foundation, so that's going to pay for part of this. This is to rehab 3 lift stations on the East Bank. It's Clayton, East Street, and Wildcat Lane. They're all dry pit stations. The dry pits are starting to fail. We're getting a lot of leaks in them, so we're going to convert all 3 of them to a submersible station. So that's what this design is for.
Thank you, sir. File number 2022-0020 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Is there any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2022-0020. Oh, no, okay. Thought you meant hear a question. Please cast your votes. And that motion passes with 7 yeas. Resolutions, 2022-0024, a resolution endorsing waivers from the St. Charles Parish Zoning Ordinance of 1981, Section 6, Zoning District Criteria and Regulations A1, OL, Open Land District 2, Spectacle Requirements, B, Minimum Yard Sizes, Item 2, as requested by Leanne Dugas. Mr. Albert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant requested a public or commercial stable in open land, which is a special permit use and is entirely appropriate for the zoning. The department recommended for it, and the commission approved it, but during the discussion, the matter of one of the buildings being too close to the side setback was brought up. So instead of 10 foot, it's 2.5 foot. They would have had to have resolved this issue, but the neighboring landowner came up and spoke on their behalf, saying they had no issue with it at all. They were part of the construction of that structure. So the commission moved to waive the setback requirement, which they can do because it's a special permit use. And that's the only reason why you're seeing it tonight. Otherwise, the approval would have ended at the planning commission. So we had no objection to it. The neighbors spoke on it on record. I believe the applicant's here. And if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Albert. File number 2022-0024 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to speak. Do you want to speak?
No questions. I'm Leanne Duga. Hi, I'm Leanne Duga. I live at 12661 River Road. And if y'all have any questions that y'all want to ask me about the building or what happened in that case, because I wasn't ignoring I didn't want y'all to think I was ignoring the permit or anything. I called the planning and zoning to actually get a permit for my roof done. And while I was doing that, Hurricane Ida actually ruined the stable in the back that was on the south end of the back of the property and built on the property line. And so because it was ruined, we had to rebuild, we decided to move it up. Well, I called them before I did any kind of building, and they said that I didn't have to have a permit for that. So we went ahead and started building. We moved the building up to the right side of it. I even had the neighbor that lives right next to me. He helped me and my husband build it. But we did not start the building the barn until after we got what we thought was clearance from the planning and zoning board. So that's where the confusion came in. And so when I went in and got the LLC and I went in to find out what I needed to do next, they then informed me that it needed to be 10 feet from the property line. And instead of removing the barn or having to tear down the barn, we asked for the waiver to come before y'all.
Thank you, Ms. Dugas. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Okay, seeing none, public comment is closed. Is there any council discussion? Ms. Cooley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What is a public stable?
I think in that instance, it would be a nonprofit, just not for private use. Like you could have people come
And board horses there?
Yeah.
Or whatever? Can I ask?
I don't think public stable is specifically defined in the code. It's just.
Yeah. I just wondered why it was specified as a public stable as opposed to a stable.
It can be used for commercial use. I think public/commercial stable is the verbiage that's in the code.
Can I ask the applicant?
Mm-hmm.
Do you plan on boarding other people's horses there?
Step up, please.
I don't have a problem with it. I was just curious. Do you plan on boarding other people's horses there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
At the moment, I have, I had, at the time that I applied for the permit, I had 4 horses there already. I think in the permit, they asked me things like, where will I dispose of the waste and everything, and we have a compost where we will dispose of all the waste.
Yes. There's always people asking for places to board horses, and so.
Yeah, and there happened to be, I think, two really major barns in Avondale and Bridge City that actually shut down. And so I only have 3 stalls, but my husband had, actually, he worked for, Phillips 66. I don't know if y'all heard about that, but, so at that point in time, we were trying to figure out what to do, how we could have some extra money coming in and everything. And I thought, after we had built the barn, I was like, well, why don't we just try and see if we can rent out some of the stalls and maybe help out with our family situation.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a need in our area, so I'm in favor of this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cooley. Any other council discussion? Okay, seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2022-0024. And that passes with 7 yeas. Appointments. 2022-0025, accept the resignation of Mr. David P. Scheck-Snyder, Sr., St. Charles Parish Planning and Zoning Commission as a District 3 representative. Please cast your votes to accept the resignations of Mr. David P. Scheck-Snyder, Sr. on the St. Charles Parish Planning and Zoning Commission, Representative, District 3. And that motion passes with 7 yeas. 2022-0026, a resolution to appoint a member of the St. Charles Parish Planning and Zoning Commission as a District 3 representative. The council chairman will accept nomination from the District 3 council member to fill the vacancy caused by the resignation of the term of Mr. David P. Scheck-Snyder, Sr., an expired term to begin immediately and expire May 31st, 2023. Mr. Gibbs, do you have a nomination?
I do not. I'd like to defer that, please.
Okay, we'll go ahead and defer that to the next council meeting. Meetings, announcements, notices, etc. Meeting, Civil Service Board, Tuesday, February 8th, 2022, 6:30 p.m., council chambers. Communication Districts, 911, Monday, February 14th, 2022, 5 p.m., council chambers. Board of Adjustment, the ZBA, Thursday, February 17th, 2022, 6 p.m., the council chambers. Pontchartrain Levy District, Monday, February 21st, 2022, 6 p.m., Pontchartrain Levy District Headquarters Complex, 2069 Railroad Avenue, Lutcher. St. Charles Parish Council, Monday, February 21st, 2022, 6 p.m., council chambers. Adjournment. I need a motion and a second to adjourn. I have a motion by Ms. Fonseca, second by Mr. Dufresne. Please cast your votes. That was appropriate. A perfect song to end a meeting on. You gonna vote? It was a good song. You did a good song. And that motion passes 7, and we are officially adjourned at 7:08 p.m. Thank y'all.